So when we look at this question here, you can skip down here. It says fill in the diameter of one rung on the Kid Kingdom ladder. Express your answer in the nearest hundredth of an inch. Enter pass if the ladder meets the ladder safety guidelines. Enter fail if the ladder does not meet the ladder safety guidelines. We need to know the diameter of these bars. So that's what we're trying to find, the diameter. It gives me a circumference. Over here, it gives me the formula for circumference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 4/5 is 0.8. You can use a calculator to adjust it. You'll have access to a calculator. 2.8 is equal to 2 pi times radius. And we're going to solve this like a equation. The first step we're going to do is divide both sides by 2. So, and you have access to a calculator, so you can literally do 2.8 divided by 2. It is 1.4. The 2's will cancel, which leaves you with just pi times radius. Then you're going to divide both sides by pi. You go to your calculator. You can literally hit enter and then hit answer divided by pi. And it comes out to be 0.445. 0.445, which means it says hundredths, so I'm going to round to 0.45. That's equal to R, but it wants to know the diameter. So what is the radius compared to the diameter? The radius is only half, right? It's half of the diameter. So I'm going to take my answer and I'm going to multiply it by 2. It gives me 0.89. 0.89 is equal to the diameter. Now, 0.89. It says the diameter has to be greater than 0.95 or less than 0.155. Is it greater than 0.95? No, so it fails. Now listen to me carefully. This is probably the most important part. Write down all of your answers on a scrap piece of paper. So you're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to put down 0.89 and then you're going to put fail. And then next to it, you're going to put diameter of ladder. Now, the reason you're doing this is because on these types of questions, they always come back to an answer at some point in time. You get what I'm saying? It might be 3 questions down the road, but they're going to be like, what's this based on this? And so then what's going to happen is you're going to have to either A, redo the problem again, or B, go back to your notes and be like, oh, I already have that information and I can move on. So the next question is a rope safety guidelines. And what it wants to know, according to this information, is the rope climber an entrapment hazard? Explain your answer using mathematics. You have this square-like shape, right? All of the sides are the same. It says the entrapment, it wants to know the perimeter, right? And so perimeter is just the measure of all the outside edges, is between 17 and 28. If it is, that's an entrapment. If it's less than 17 or greater than 28, then it's fine. So you go over here, it has some information. It says the diagonal lengths are 5.5, 5/9, and 5.5. Now, the first one I would check is always the biggest one, because if the biggest one passes, the smaller one's going to pass. Does that make sense? So it gives you Pythagorean theorem. Here's why. This diagonal here is 5 and 9/16. These two sides are the same. You have a right triangle. So we could use the formula a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. But if they're both the same, I can just use the letter A to represent both, to where 5 and 9/16 squared is equal to a squared plus a squared. Now, the first thing you have to do is take 5 and 9/16 and square it. So here's how you do that. 5 plus 9 divided by 16. I now have the decimal form of that fraction. You see how I did that? You're then going to take that answer and square it. Now, you're going to keep this on your calculator. You can write it down, though. 30.94, I think is what it said, right? Is equal to a squared and a squared. We can combine like terms, would become 2a squared. You go back to your calculator. Make sure that you wrote down the same number. All right, now we want to do divide by 2 on both sides. We take our calculator, hit return, we hit answer, divided by 2. 15.47. 15.47 is equal to a squared. Now, then you're going to do the square root of both sides. You're going to hit return, square root, answer, and you get 3.93. 3.93 is equal to A. This is one side of this square. How many sides are there to a square? So you're going to take your answer and you're going to multiply it by 4. 15.73. The perimeter is 15.73. Now it said should be less than 17. Is 15.73 less than 17? Yes. So it says, according to the information, is the rope climber an entrapment hazard? No, it is not.
Teachers, for the repetition, we're going to start revision screening for 8th grade students. Again, this is only for 8th grade students. If you're a student with the last name that begins with A, you need to report to the auditorium at this time. Thank you.
It is not a hazard because the perimeter is less than 17. Now this one says the height of a horizontal length ratio shown in the figure should not exceed 0.577. The flat portion at the bottom of the slide is called the slide exit. So, what is the ratio of the height to the horizontal length of the slide? So we're talking about this part. We want to know what the ratio is here. Right? So here's what we know. This is 5. I got it from this image over here. And this diagonal is 9. We have a right triangle. We got to figure out what B is. So we're going to do 9 squared minus 5 squared. And that will be equal to B squared. Pull up your calculator. Clear it all out. You should have wrote down your answer, though, for that one that says no because it is less than 17. For the previous one. So it passes the inspection. Make sure you understand it passes the inspection. Now, for this one here, you would type in 9 squared minus 5 squared is equal to 56. Then you're going to take the answer, the square root of the answer, and you're going to get 7.48. This B is equal to 7.48. Now, it says it wants to know the horizontal length compared to the height, the ratio of the height to the horizontal length. So what you're going to do, go back to your calculator, and you're going to do the height, 5, divided by the horizontal length, which is 7.48. And it comes up to be 0.6, what was that? 67. So 0.67. Actually, this one went to the thousandths, so let's go to the thousandths. 0.668. So it says the horizontal height length ratio in the figure should not exceed 0.577. 0.668 is bigger. So the first part says what is the ratio to the horizontal length. So 0.668 is what your answer is. So for the slide, you're going to put 0.668 and then you're going to put it failed. Question 5 says the only information given on the swing set is the distance between the end post and the number of swings. Refer to figure 5 in table 1 to determine whether it is possible for the swing set to be safe. So first of all, it gives you some information down here. It says, is it possible for the Kid Kingdom swing set to meet these swing safety guidelines? Provide all the necessary information to justify your decision. So this says D1 is 30. So anywhere it says D1, you're going to put 30. Anywhere it says D2, you're going to put 24. Anywhere it says D3, you're going to put 20. Now, over here it says some information. Figure 1, all that stuff. Let's see. Slide this out of the way for a second. It says the swing set number of swings is 4. The length from the end post to the end post top is 16 feet. Now, Actual distance from between the swings and end posts must meet or exceed minimum distance requirements. Now, the minimum distance requirement is 30 inches, 24 inches, and 20 inches, right? We wrote them above there. So, number of swings. So here's what it's saying is that you have a swing that is got 4 swings on it, right? The number, it's 16 feet. It's saying that there is a bigger swing than the one pictured, and that the total length of this is 16. But we need to have it go a D1 section right here, which would be 30. And then we have a swing section, which would be 20. And then we have a D2 section, which would be 24. Here's a swing right here. Then we have another swing, which would be 20. Then we have another section that needs to be 24. Then we have another section where we have a swing which needs to be 20. And then we have another section that needs to be 24. And then we have another swing that needs to be at least 20. And then this last little section here needs to be 30 because you have 4 swings. See, it tells you 4 swings down here. So then you're going to add these up. You can use a calculator. 30 plus 20 plus 24 plus 20 plus 24. So we got 30, 20, 24. We've done that one. We've done that one. We've done that one. We've done that one. And then we've done this one as well. And then so plus 20, plus 24, plus 20. So we've got 30, swing, 24, swing, 24, swing, 24, swing, and then we need another 30. These add up to be, altogether here, 212 inches. We know that the swing is already 16 feet. So what you're going to do is 16 feet times 12 is 192. So this is how much you need to have 4 swings, right? This is how much you got. Does it pass the minimum recommendations? You have 192 inches is what it actually is. You need at least 212. So is it possible for the Kid Kingdom swing set to meet these safety guidelines? No, because $16 feet is 192 inches. And to meet minimum, to meet the minimum requirements, and there's these words are up here, so if you don't know how to spell them, you can look. Requirements, you need 212 inches. So it is not long enough. So it is not long enough. So for the swing, you're going to write down 192 inches, and you're going to put no not long enough on your notepad, and you're going to put failed. And then we're going to go to the next question. Now this one says you've been assigned to determine whether has passed or failed. For each of the equipment listed in the table, enter pass if the equipment meets the safety guidelines, enter fail if it does not. The rope climber. If we go back and look at the rope climber, right? We put that it passed, right? So we put pass here. Oh. So we put pass. The slide, on the other hand, we failed it. And then on the swing set, we also failed it. So we put pass, fail, fail. Use your answers from question 3 and 5 and safety guidelines for each piece of equipment in part A to provide a reason for each rating. Listen, you go back and look at your notes and you put the rope climber passed.
Teacher, sorry for the interruption. 8th grade students' last name that begin with the letter B. Last names that begin with the letter B. 8th grade students only report to the auditorium. Thank you.
You go through and write these down. You put the rope climber passed because it is less than 17 inches based on the, and then you put the slide failed because the ratio is greater. And then you put the swing failed because it is not long enough. Okay, so this next part, I don't know what this is. This next part is go to Canvas and click on day 2. For week 3, and you're going to do the Edge Elastic video, or not video, I'm sorry, Edge Elastic assignment. That's called lesson 6. Now listen, lesson 6 is practice iLearn questions. These are questions that were on iLearn that have been released. You're just going to determine is this true. Use a calculator. There's 10 questions. Go through and do all of them. If you need help, ask for help. If you need to look something up, look it up.